Today I am going to use this pumpkin that has been on my counter for the last 4 months, and it finally needs to be cooked because I got it pretty much right when I started this channel and in late fall, and it's been sitting on my windowsill where it's super cold and pretty much almost refrigerated for the last couple months, which you may think is kind of gross, but it's a pumpkin. It doesn't really go bad unless you open it. Well, they can eventually, but this one has not. So I'm going to make tough stuffed pumpkin from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because ever since I've seen that, I've wanted to make it. I love the game so much, and I am slowly making all of my favorite recipes. If you haven't seen it already, I did do a short about the monster rice balls, and now I'm doing tough stuffed pumpkin. So let's get to it. Now that you have your hole all nice and cleaned out, if you know, you know, we're just gonna put it on a sheet pan and douse it in some olive oil. Got a nice lubed up melon. Okay, well, I forgot to turn on my mic for this, so you get to listen to Editing Valerie's very grumpy sarcasm, and you also see me spilling some vegetables on the floor there. In this bowl, I have some pre-diced vegetables, basically onions, bell peppers, celery root, carrots. Yeah, good stuff. I'm adding vegetables A to make it taste better, but also B because you can see in the original picture that there are some flecks of color. I was originally going to add green peas into this as well to make those little green flecks, but I don't really like green peas, so why would I do that? Okay, so we are going to use a cast iron skillet for this. I have a lid for mine that I stole from my cast iron Dutch oven. Pro tip, it's really nice to have a cast iron lid that you can also put in the oven. Anywho, first thing we're gonna do is take a good old hunk of butter. If you want to be game accurate, use goat butter, but I don't have that. So we're just gonna use plain old German market butter. Oakley dokley then, we're melting the butter, as you can clearly see, and I'm gonna add some salt to it. If you want to salt bay, you can. I don't know why I paused there, but oh well. I'm also adding some pepper. Whatever that seasoning is, probably some sage. I figured herbs would go like Hyrule herb. And some Goron spice. Next, I'm just dumping my diced vegetables into the very hot seasoned pan. And I'm going to stir these around and let them saute until they're nice and tender. Voila, it's like magic. Then I'm dumping in my stew meat. I believe this was goulash beef, the way they sell it at the store. But we're just gonna stir that around, let it brown, and come back in a little bit. Okay. Once your meat is browned, I obviously forgot to film this, you're going to add some stock to it. You can use beef stock, you can use chicken stock, you can use veggie stock. I used a homemade veggie stock. Once that comes up to a boil, you're going to put your lid on and stick that in the oven. Don't burn yourself, like I just did. That was way more trouble than it was worth doing, but it also bothers me watching this back that is incredibly crooked in the oven. Luckily, nothing boiled over or spilled. Anyways, you're gonna let your oven, not let your oven, what am I talking about? You're gonna let your pumpkin continue roasting. When that's done, you'll pull it out. The meat's gonna stay in there significantly longer than the pumpkin will, which is why we're cooking them separately. Well, I just pulled the meat out of the oven. I pulled out the pumpkin about an hour and a half ago, and I was going to film it, but my tripod is broken, so let's do it without. This is what it looks like now that all of the liquid is gone. And the meat falls apart. There is still some liquid in here, so we're just gonna strain that out and shred the meat. Back to using the voiceovers. I am so incredibly happy with how this turned out. It is so cute. It is everything I wanted it to be. So let's take a little bite. I'm saying there that it smells so good, and it kind of had like this sweet smell, and I think that was from the pumpkin. Nice big ol' bite. Yeah, my face says it all. This was by far one of the best things I have ever cooked. The meat almost caramelized to the point where it was sweet. The vegetables were perfectly cooked and tender, and they kind of just melted into the juices with the meat. The pumpkin had this almost spaghetti squash-like consistency and so much flavor. This I will be making 10 times over. If I could make this every weekend, I would. And it saddens me that I have to wait until next fall to get a whole pumpkin again, because I don't know where else to buy them. You know, food is really good when I do a happy dance. I cannot express enough how tasty this dish was. Well, I'm gonna go finish eating here, and tonight I'm gonna go eat my dinner because these voiceovers in the video are 2 very different days. Hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know down in the comments if you try this, what you would do differently, or if you think the recipe is good as it is. Catch me in my next video, and see you next time.